The narrative circulating online centers on a signal. 3 Atlas, an interstellar object, is said to have transmitted a message while passing Jupiter. But there is an issue. Its closest approach to Jupiter will not occur until March 2026. The actual evidence points to ordinary comet chemistry, not an alien broadcast. So why did the claim spread so fast? And what drives NASA's suspicion when the core figures are public and verified? Quick side note before we go deeper, if you're enjoying this kind of careful, evidence-first breakdown, tap like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so YouTube knows you're into this, and so you don't miss the next deep dive. It's free, it takes about a second, and honestly, it's the simplest way to support the work here. The algorithm loves that stuff, and so do we. That is where the story opens up. On July 1st, 2025, a dim object crossed the sky above Chile. The Atlas Survey Telescope, designed to flag fast-moving threats to Earth, detected it within hours. Its trajectory did not match any catalog comet or asteroid. By July 2nd, 2025, the Minor Planet Center had recorded the first 122 observations, each tagged with time, position, and telescope identification. 31 observatories fed data into the same system, cross-verifying positions and speeds. The results were unmistakable. This was no typical visitor. The orbit was hyperbolic, meaning it was traveling too fast to remain bound to the sun. Not native, not returning. The designation followed quickly. C 2025 N1 Atlas, the third confirmed interstellar object after Oumuamua and Borisov. The 3I label made it official. Every phase, detection, reporting, confirmation, unfolded in public records and Minor Planet Center notices. No closed-door arguments, no concealed evidence. The trail is open for anyone to trace. At this point, I'm curious what you think. When you see a story like this unfold in real time, do you trust open data more, or does the lack of official narrative make you suspicious? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We genuinely read as many as we can, especially thoughtful, well-argued takes, and good ones often end up shaping future videos. Discovery alert. Linked observations, orbital solution, official naming. The Atlas Project's daily logs display timestamps and raw sky images. Minor Planet Center circulars detail calculations, uncertainties, and rising confidence as more observatories contributed. Nothing about those early days resembles a cover-up. The process is systematic, almost bureaucratic. Each additional data point refined the orbit. Each confirmation pushed the object closer to interstellar classification. The astronomers who spotted it first, survey teams in Chile followed by observers in South Africa, Australia, Hawaii, and Europe, worked by protocol. They do not chase speculation. They submitted coordinates, brightness data, and motion vectors. If anything, the system is engineered to remove conjecture and let numbers speak. What stands out is not secrecy, but speed and openness. Within 48 hours, astronomers worldwide had identical information. The hyperbolic orbit was computed, verified, and published. The velocity, well above solar escape speed, confirmed its origin. The system exists for this purpose: detect, confirm, publish. Every step timestamped, every result archived. Before blogs or viral headlines appeared, the facts were already public. The story begins not with mystery, but with documentation anyone can review. The numbers dismantle fantasy. This object measures nearly a kilometer across, roughly between 820 and 1,500 meters wide. That places it squarely among ordinary battered comets, not engineered machines. Its density sits around 0, 5 grams per cubic centimeter. That matches the loose structure of the solar system's oldest fragile ice bodies. There is no metallic signature, no sign of artificial design, only porous rock and frozen gas. The clearest indicator is its response to sunlight. As it approached the inner solar system, radio and infrared instruments recorded a sharp asymmetric gas release. Astronomers label this outgassing asymmetry, measured as zeta equals 0.5. It means the sunward side vents twice the material of the shaded side. This is the classic mark of a rotating nucleus warming unevenly. Not thrust, not control, just ancient volatiles escaping under heat. Outgassing explains it. Hydrogen cyanide, HCN, became the tracer. On September 7, 2025, the James Clerk Maxwell Telescope measured output near 1.5x 1025 molecules per second. 1 week later, it tripled to 4.5x 1025, That equals nearly 2 kilograms of HCN released every second as the comet crossed 3 astronomical units from the Sun. The pattern fits a natural object, activating as it nears perihelion. No modulation, no message, just chemistry driven by sunlight. Mass estimates derived from gas loss and orbital changes reinforce the conclusion. The nucleus sheds mass exactly as predicted for a dirty snowball of this scale. The outgassing does not suggest engines or vents. It matches uneven heating common to all comets. The figures leave no space for hidden payloads or hollow shells. If there is mystery, it is not physical. Every metric, size, density, gas output, aligns with expectations for a comet formed in another star system. The data is public, the calculations are standard. The physical nature of 3 Atlas undermines design claims. It is debris, not a probe. The next step was to test whether the COMA's chemistry agreed. Radio silence defined the early weeks after 3I Atlas was identified. Initial scans in the 1.6 GHz band detected nothing, only baseline noise, no hydroxyl or other signals. September 20th and 28th produced blank spectra. The comet remained too cold, too distant for water ice to fragment. Chemistry had not yet activated. By late October, values began shifting. On October 24th, MERCAT receivers detected faint dips at 1,665 and 1,667 megahertz, textbook hydroxyl frequencies. But these were absorption lines, not emission. That means the COMA absorbed background radio noise rather than broadcasting. This occurs when sunlight first splits water molecules, releasing oxygen into the gas cloud. The comet was stirring, but barely. At this stage, the gas remained dense and cold enough to absorb more than emit. Observations on November 4th and 6th showed deeper absorption, tracking its steady approach to perihelion on October 29th. Each reading matched predicted temperature increases as 3 Atlas moved to just 1.4 astronomical units. The heating curve was written molecule by molecule. This was not an event, but a process. Lines shifted, thickened, and blurred as the COMA grew. Then, during the second week of November, the pattern reversed. On November 11th and 12th, the same frequencies switched to emission. The gas crossed a threshold. Solar energy had excited oxygen radicals enough to emit the same radio waves they once absorbed. This absorption to emission transition is a classic marker of cometary chemistry accelerating under solar heating. It is a continuous arc, not a singular occurrence. A radio signature mapping physical evolution as the object travels. No artificial markers, no engineered modulation, no narrowband carrier, only the unmistakable sequence of a cold interstellar body awakening near the Sun. The timeline fits water, ice, ultraviolet radiation, and molecular physics. This is not a message. It is chemistry in motion bound to environment. The next question is why public intuition keeps assigning intent where the data shows process. Hydroxyl lines at 1,665 and 1,667 megahertz are exactly what comet scientists anticipate. These lines are not code or transmission. They result from water vapor broken apart by sunlight. When a comet like 3 Atlas nears the Sun, ultraviolet radiation splits H2O molecules in the COMA. Hydrogen and hydroxyl drift outward, and oxygen absorbs and emits radio waves at precise frequencies. The mechanism is called photodissociation. It is as routine to comet science as a pulse is to medicine. On October 24th, 2025, MERCAT receivers captured the first clear evidence. The absorption matched the comet's velocity, confirming correct tuning and tracking. This was no anomaly. In the same session, a mere variable star in the background produced a textbook Oumuamua maser at identical frequencies. That maser served as a control, confirming calibration and eliminating instrumental error. Absorption from the comet and emission from the star appeared side by side, each behaving exactly as physics predicts. The chemistry is straightforward. Ice sublimates, forming vapor, sunlight splits molecules, and oxygen radicals interact with the radio sky. Early on, the cold dense COMA absorbs background noise. As heating increases, those same radicals emit radiation. The absorption to emission shift is a thermometer for activity, not a communication dial. There is no modulation, encoding, or artificial structure. Broad fuzzy profiles, not narrow pulses, match every natural model. The sequence, no O in September, absorption in late October, emission mid-November, tracks solar heating precisely, that is, water behavior, not a beacon. I'd also really like to hear your perspective here. Do you think terms like signal are being misunderstood or intentionally stretched for clicks? Let us know how you interpret that language. Instructive, detailed comments are especially appreciated. We read them closely, and when possible, we even respond or use them as inspiration for follow-up episodes. Mykola Ivchenko, a radio astronomer on the project, stated it clearly. Detecting hydroxyl confirms 3 Atlas behaves like a comet. The lines are chemical fingerprints, not messages. Instrument checks and velocity matching lock the signal to the comet. This is not unprecedented. Comet 266P/Christensen produced similar confusion in 2016 until chemistry clarified it. The pattern repeats: rare visitor, technical detection, public eager to infer intention. The lines from 3 Atlas tell the same old story: water vapor, sunlight, and physics of a deep space body passing nearby. The real story is how fast routine chemistry becomes framed as a signal and how spectrogram facts pull it back. Within days of discovery, the hunt for something unnatural accelerated. Breakthrough Listen moved quickly, pointing the Allen telescope array at 3 Atlas in early July. The survey swept 19 gigahertz, covering bands used by cell towers, Wi-Fi, and known terrestrial signals. The goal was simple: locate narrowband persistent emissions suggesting technology, not chemistry. Andrew Simeon, who leads Breakthrough Listen, called the approach routine but essential. Every interstellar object is checked. The pipeline flags anything deviating from cosmic background, filtering satellites, radar, and interference. Observations spanned multiple nights. Each scan divided thousands of channels. Each channel examined for anomalies. Nothing emerged. No carriers, no repeating patterns, no unexplained spikes. In SETI, a null result constrains possibilities. For 3 Atlas, it meant silence. If a beacon existed, it was not transmitting at detectable frequencies or power. The summary was direct. No artificial emissions detected. Raw data, publicly available, shows only cosmic noise and Milky Way background. Simons wrote to Teddy Lawson, early diligence established a baseline. ATA sensitivity in July 2025 could detect transmitters of only a few watts if aimed from hundreds of millions of kilometers. The search included bands associated with the 1977 WOW signal. Nothing from 3 Atlas matched a techno-signature profile. The protocol did not wait for rumors. As soon as an interstellar object appeared, the system activated. The result was a clean sweep and an auditable record. Greater sensitivity would require larger instruments. On December 18th, the Green Bank telescope focused on 3 Atlas, nearly 100 meters wide. It is Earth's largest fully steerable radio dish. Receivers scanned 1 to 12 gigahertz, covering everything from terrestrial signals to hypothetical deep space beacons. The timing was deliberate. Hours before closest Earth approach, geometry was optimal. At 1.7 astronomical units, roughly 250 million kilometers, Green Bank could detect signals down to 1/10 of a watt. Even a household bulb would register if broadcasting. SETI Institute ran it as a high-priority target. Every band scanned for narrow signals or repeating patterns. Thousands of channels were stripped of interference. What remained was possibility, or silence. The result was ordinary. No narrow carriers, no modulated pulses, no engineered emissions. Only expected background, hydroxyl lines, molecular traces. Every candidate was traced to natural or terrestrial sources. The null result sets limits, not closure. A transmitter, if any, is inactive, misaligned, or outside frequencies. The observation was a snapshot of vast parameter space. The session proved reach, not omniscience. Green Bank covered unprecedented ground, but the sky is enormous and the encounter brief. Non-detection constrains, not answers. Evidence keeps the narrative grounded in ice and sunlight, not intent. The process works on grit, not marble. Evidence reaches with both, not intent. Precision tracking tells one story. The calendar tells another. The object passed behind the sun on October 21, 2025. Solar conjunction. For weeks, all observations stopped. No radio, optical, or infrared access. Anything could have happened unseen. That blackout is geometry, not conspiracy. Every comet and probe experiences it. Observations resume only when alignment clears, by which time conditions have changed. Claims of a Jupiter signal ignored that the Jupiter encounter has not occurred. Closest approach to Jupiter is mid-March 2026. Until then, all data precedes the flyby. No spectra, emissions, or spikes exist from that phase. The timeline is public. Perihelion, late October 2025. Closest Earth pass, mid-December 2025. Jupiter crossing, months ahead. Claims linking signals to Jupiter run ahead of facts. The absence of post-Jupiter data creates a rumor gap. When records fall silent, speculation grows louder. A technical blind spot becomes narrative fuel. The most anticipated event remains unobserved. Until access returns, all claims are placeholders. The next chapter remains unwritten. NASA's official page on 3I Atlas lists discovery data, trajectory, composition, and planetary defense notes, but never mentions a signal. The data is public, yet the viral framing is absent. NASA confirms the object and releases facts, nothing more. This selective silence creates a vacuum. When an agency avoids amplifying a claim, restraint can be misread as concealment. This approach follows precedent. After the WOW signal in 1977, and later with Oumuamua and Borisov, NASA stuck to what could be proven and ignored speculation. For 3 Atlas, that means orbital updates and chemistry only. But online, drama spreads faster than corrections. A phrase like "signal detected" persists, and silence becomes suspicion. Addressing rumors would legitimize them. Ignoring them fuels doubt. Internally, the logic is simple. Do not amplify fringe narratives. The record is full of data, empty of spectacle. That emptiness becomes narrative fuel. Where facts pause, speculation enters. Spectrogram spikes illustrate the problem. To scientists, they indicate standard chemistry, such as hydroxyl radicals from sunlight split water. To the public, they suggest intent. The same misinterpretation happened with Comet 266P Christensen. Visuals spread faster than explanations, and technical context is lost. Online signal shifts from detection to message. That semantic gap creates myth. Absence of modulation is ignored. It is not conspiracy, but human pattern recognition at work. Hypotheses multiply, speculation hardens, and ambiguity becomes belief. Viral systems turn uncertainty into conviction. The real spike is not in the data, but in belief. Facts remain public, chemistry routine, myth persistent. As 3 Atlas approaches Jupiter in 2026, the real question is not whether a signal exists, but whether we recognize when narrative gravity begins to shape perceived truth. And if you want to keep following stories like this as they evolve, make sure you're subscribed, give the video a like, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss future investigations. It doesn't cost anything, but it makes a real difference for the channel. Sharing the video with someone who loves science, space, or skepticism also helps more than you might think.